Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here is today's comic, Superman Year One by Frank Miller, John Romita Jr. Joining me, as always, is Stan the Man. And what you got there, Stan? You got yourself a Hershey's Gold Nugget? Oh, right on, buddy. You enjoy those? Stan is the godfather of comics. Everyone should know who he is. We also got Forky. Forky's our resident intern, and he's also expert on all things trash. Forky, you got a Hershey's Nugget too? You both? You didn't give me any candy? What's going on? Oh, you did. Thanks, guys. That's really nice of you. Look, a little Hershey Nugget. Thanks for not giving me a Milky Way. That shows real friendship. Real friends do not give friends Milky Ways. Remember that, kids. Hashtag Candygate. Superman Year One takes its cue from one of the most famous comics of all time, Batman Year One, which sort of started the whole Year One craze. Frank Miller is a legend. He is my favorite writer of all time. He's not very prolific. He hasn't written a ton of stuff, but it's like when he does, it's amazing. And some of my favorite comics of all time are all Frank Miller books. He's getting old. He's kind of past his prime. He's ruined his body, I think, with alcohol, I believe. I don't actually know. I don't want to guess at the man's private life. All I know is that I'm getting old myself, and your brain doesn't work the same way. Anyways, I love Frank Miller. I liked Superman Year One quite a bit. The first issue. This is a giant, oversized issue. I don't have the actual physical copy with me, but it might be big. Might have a frog in my throat. It might actually on this iPad. They might actually be bigger than the iPad screen here. That's a first. I actually got the Frank Miller cover. This is the A cover, which I do like better than Frank Miller's cover. But still, John Romita Jr. is drawing some weird shit too. I don't think John Romita knows how to draw youth or kids. I think he's trying to draw this as like Superboy. I don't know. It's pretty cool shooting his heat vision into this monster's mouth. It's pretty cool. I like the composition of the shot, but you don't need me to critique this. You can see for yourself right here. I haven't read this yet. I've only read the first issue, so I'm going to sit down with my boys here who were so nice to bring some candy. Give me a little piece of candy to enjoy. Got my soda, and I'm going to read my favorite writer in comics doing Superman, one of my favorite characters. And I'm going to enjoy. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. And the good thing is you don't have to wait, because through the magic of editing and stuff, it'll be like 2 seconds for you. So stay tuned and we'll get into it. Okay. Superman Year One, Issue 2 of 3. Wow. My brain is struggling on this one. First of all, I want to say I paired this book with the Man of Steel soundtrack. Now, despite what you feel about that movie, some people love it, some people hate it. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Hans Zimmer, and it really, really works for this book. Really enjoyed it. This was a long read, and I gotta say up front, I really enjoyed this book. Now, I also have to say up front, a big disclaimer, I'm a massive Frank Miller fanboy. So take that what you will. I always try to be objective. I try to tell you what I honestly feel. I give positive reviews to Bendis sometimes, and I want to feel like I can give Frank Miller a negative review. A lot of people don't like this book. A lot of people didn't like the first issue. I really liked the first issue. But I'm going to tell you right away, this was a strange issue. That's my problem. I really enjoyed reading it. Here is the credits. I really enjoyed reading it, but it doesn't feel like a Superman book. If I had never heard of Superman, right? Never heard of him. And this was just a brand new book, a new IP. Like this was some indie book, and it was just about this character. I think I wouldn't be conflicted because the storyline itself and the writing was just so fun to read. But the conflict comes in, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like Superman. And I don't feel... Not only does it not feel like Superman, it doesn't feel like Superman's origin. You're telling me this year one story, and we all know the basics of Superman, right? Mother and father on a dying world. Father's a scientist, puts his boy on a rocket ship to escape the death of their planet, sends him to Earth. He's crashes in the farm of Ma and Pa Kent, who raised them as their own with these good American values, and he grows up to become, Superman, and for fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. It's a very basic story. All of us at some point know the basics of that story, whether you got it from the original Superman films in the 70s, whether you read the comic books, whether you saw the new movies, like Man of Steel. Somewhere along the line, you know Superman. We all kind of do know the basics. But this story, you're like, wait a second, I don't remember Clark Kent being a Navy SEAL? What's going on here? And that's where we start off. The end of the last book was him going off to join the Navy. Felt really weird, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep an open mind. Maybe this will all make sense. And it kind of does. I mean, Frank Miller doesn't make it totally not make sense, but at the same time, it's like it's so out of the ordinary. And I think most importantly, it doesn't feel necessary. It doesn't feel like Miller is changing up the history of Superman for some sort of important reason. Where you go, oh, for example, joining the military. I was kind of hoping it's like you're going to show that he joins the military and it's going to reveal something about the Clark Kent character that we go, oh, that's why Clark is like he is, because he's got this in his past. It really doesn't. It just goes to show Clark. Really, the only thing I can make sense of this is that it goes to show how badass Clark Kent is. Right? But we kind of already know that. He's Superman. So, we get these scenes of him, being a recruit, boot camp or whatever. And we see the narration. And Miller has this unique way of narrating a book that some people don't like. I love it. It's kind of abstract, and it's sometimes not clear who the voice of the narrator is. For me, it works. I don't seem to have a problem with it. Some people do. And I can't speak for you if you were one of those people that have a problem. But so we go here. Don't go showing off. That's what Paz said. It must be 1,000,000 times over. Don't go showing off. And Clark tries so very hard to hold back, to keep people from seeing what he can do. Hut, hut, hut. Poor Ganner's knee sounds like it's about to go out on him, and Stuka's close to blowing out a lung. They're all so fragile. Push it! Fragile, but they work so hard. Every one of them. They work so darned hard. Put your back in it, you damn mama's boys. Push it! And grunts and groans and echo. It's so hard for them. Everything's so hard for them. And you can see, like the straining of these guys. But Clark's just doing his thing. The yard becomes a playground. And sometimes he forgets and plays. And you see him leaping, and these guys in the background are like, huh? Who is that boy? He just having a good day? That's Kent, Captain. Good days are the only kind he ever has. Didn't have a lot of pistols around growing up. Only when Pa's old war buddies stopped by for target practice. That's the only time he ever got to see a pistol. Clark, he trained himself on an antique family heirloom, a rifle, a bolt-action Army 44. She was a cranky old thing. This beauty doesn't even buck in his hands. Doesn't give him a lick of a fight. Missing would take work. So he doesn't miss. Not once. And we get this illustration of, well, Clark is a Superman. He can do everything. These guys are like, he's off the charts. This one, perfect shot every time. Never seen anything like it. I don't think anyone ever has, sir. And it's kind of just setting up that Clark is amazing. But we know this. But I'm okay with it. I'm kind of trusting in the author at this point. Where's the story going to go? Now, what I'm not really liking, and I don't understand, is John Romita Jr.'s pencils here. Why can he not draw youth? I don't know what John. I see other books that John Romita Jr. draws, and I'm like, this is fine. I don't know what's going on here. This was kind of cool, seeing this. So they're going to send him off, because he's such a badass, and they're going to send him off to, SEAL training. So 1 week and a whole lot more yelling later, Clark arrives. Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. I thought this was really cool because I worked here in the past. So I recognized this. And then I look and I'm like, yep, they got this accurate. This is, sorry for that. This is, the bay is out there. This is inland. And it looks weird, but Coronado used to be an island and then they connected it. So you used to only be able to get to it by a bridge, but now you can get to it from the south side. They made it basically a land bridge. And so this is the interior bay, Coronado Bay. Down here would be where, if you've ever been to the Comic-Con, where the convention center is, on the other side of the bay, you can see. And I just really appreciated, being a San Diegan, that attention to detail. It's not going to matter to you at all, but that's just me. And here we see more of the training. And I really enjoy this, first of all, because I just think SEALs are cool and military stories and stuff like that. The struggle. Boot camp is one of the great kind of storylines, right? They've done it many times. Boot camp itself is a story of struggle and adversity and overcoming adversity. It lends itself to really cool stories. So I'm interested in that aspect. I'm interested in just the way Miller writes. I love his language. Then you get downside, and it's all sweat and sand, and the salty sea. The sea, it calls to him. The whole planet calls to him. No showboating, Kent. Strange exercises, testing teamwork. Oh, mama. And endurance. His buddies are tough. They'll have to be. Do it, daisies. And again, you can see Clark Kent just not even struggling where all these other guys are. It's supposed to be, drawing a dichotomy. And, they're running on the beach. And this is where the story starts to take a little bit of a turn. Because Clark, with his super senses, well, first he's just seeing the beauty of Earth and he's taking it all in. His drill instructor doesn't appreciate it too much and makes him drop and give him 100 in the water, and then do all these chores. But at nighttime, Clark's looking out and he sees these mermaids. And then his commanding officer is there. This whole world's filled with wonder, son. Those ladies, they're real enough. Them you'll see and more, things no farm boy would ever dream of. And with eyes like you got, you'll make yourself one heck of a scout, or one hell of a sniper. 30 years I've been staring out at that sea on nights like this, me and other swabs. And every once in a while, one of us, he'd go a little sea crazy, looking at those angels and forgetting all about the girls back home. So he'd jump. More than a few of them never made it back home, lost at sea, lost in loveliness. And you can see Clark's just wide-eyed. But you never heard nothing from no mermaids, not from me, now did you, boy? Now did you, boy? Sir, no, sir, nothing about no mermaids, sir. Keep it that way. And here we go again. Another shot that I really appreciated. Here you can see the Coronado Bridge linking inland San Diego, Coronado. It's a really cool bridge. When you drive over it, there's almost feels like you're floating over it because there's not high rails. Richard C. Myers talked about this. He hates this bridge. He drives over. He's like, it's scary. Then the Gaslamp Quarter downtown. So obviously, Frank Miller has been to San Diego a number of times. Comic-Con's a big destination. A lot of the pros love it. And also John Romita Jr. So they probably know this city quite well. And I just really appreciated that attention to detail once again. So here we see Clark has gone AWOL, at night. He doesn't sleep because he's Superman, didn't have to sleep. So he's out in a bar and he's talking to a girl who's a reporter. And, it's like, oh, okay, this is probably the seeds of where Clark Kent will pursue a reporting career. This guy's kind of bothering her. Clark interferes and says, don't make her say it again, mister. Go home. Made me drop my beer. Kill you bad. Gah! And it's like, all right, Frank. Maybe he's just drunk and that's what you're trying to convey, but that was not your best dialogue. And then Clark just sort of effortlessly puts his hand aside and blocks his swing. And, a guy hurts his wrist. It's like, what the hell, son of a bitch? And he ends up starting a bar fight. He walks away and escorts the girl home, but not before the MPs arrive and he gets chewed out. But I shut your pie hole. You disgrace the U.S. Navy. You lock a loogie over the Mount Rushmore, starting a bar fight over some 2-bit floozy. Pah! Inciting a whole room of juiced up, wet behind the ears wannabe grunts in urban combat. Bah! I ought to shoot you right now. That's right. I ought to pull out my gun and shoot you right now. So here's where we see Clark's not fitting into the military life, which is, for me as a fan, I'm kind of hopeful. I'm like, oh, we're good. I don't think Clark Kent should be a military guy. It doesn't make sense. And thankfully, I'm like, oh, Miller understands this too. He joins the military because he wants to serve. And I think that's the point that's trying to be put across, is that a young Clark Kent wants to serve. He wants to help people. He wants this adventure. And that's where this story is talking about. Part of his adventure now, he goes AWOL once again, and he dives into the water, and he finds the mermaids. This girl, what's her name? Lori, I think her name is. And, just like the history, or the myth of mermaids, they sing their siren songs and lure men away. And Clark is not, even though he's Superman, he's not immune to their charms, if you will. And so we get a little bit of a swimming through the ocean. There's whales and stuff. And then he comes across Atlantis, and it's like disaster. Some kind of high-end, high-tech experimental surveillance sub. Looks like the experiment didn't work out so well. Damn thing crashed, and it took half of heaven with it. Atlantis, paradise demolished. So we see, I think this is I'm not a big DC guy, but I think this was a big iconic moment in DC lore where the Atlanteans waged war against the surface world. But I'm not 100% sure. I think they did something with that in the Aquaman movie as well. People like Eric Breen or other comic experts, lore, that old-time DC guys, if that would be alluding to some iconic DC lore, please let me know. So he comes in and he wants to help. They're trying to rebuild, and he talks about Lori's mind is barking out orders left and right. She's been at this for hours. She's tired, and in mind and body, commanding scared civilians and using sea mush as a makeshift mortar. Still got a few hours. Maybe I can help things get stable before bugle, or maybe just stay all day and let myself get yelled at. Kurtzberg could use the exercise. Right now, these folks need help, and that's all that matters. So this is where we get the true Clark Kent. So he stays and he's help. It was our darkest hour. All hope was lost. So now this is, what's her name? Lori. This is Lori's voice. And lo, a beacon of light shone through. It was a surface man, a Superman. Mighty beyond all words. Words, the hero's voice spoke to us into our minds with a voice strong and sure. I have seen a world destroyed, he boomed. I will not bear witness to such a thing again. Join me now in the rising. And so we did, rebuilding, replanting, and the sea was filled with our songs. A legend was born. Never would this hero be forgotten. And yet he paused in his labors, called upon by the foul world above. My hero, no, cried Lori. Don't leave us. Don't leave me. So she, who is the siren, who normally lures men, she now is enamored with him, the only man worthy of her. And she's falling for him. Clark doesn't want to leave because he's still falling for his wiles. And he ends up leaving, going back. And Kurtzberg observes, where does it say, they talk about Kent picked his hour to come home ashore with precision. I'll give him that. He avoided detection. He'll be good at infiltration. He'll be good at recon. He'll make a good spy. And look at that. A night like he just had, and the cocky bastard just jogs into the barracks. Nothing makes that boy tired. Something tells me nothing ever has. And in he goes, easy as you please, the goddamn invisible man. He's seen them. He's been with them. Clark Kent, you swaggering son of a bitch. You spent the night AWOL, and you are swimming with the angels. Count your blessings, boys. Or boy, you swam with the angels. Keep that memory polished. Let it shine for you for all the years to come. Heads up, engage! And so a few hours later, there's more training on the beach, and Clark's fighting, and of course he just dominates, and he doesn't hold back. And this was kind of weird because Miller set this sort of status about how Clark's not supposed to show off, and he keeps hearing the voice of his dad, but it's not so much that he shows off, but he kind of doesn't hold back in a way. So he's always dominant and perfect, and everyone takes notice. It's like, geez, this kid's beyond, he's a superhuman, essentially. They don't think of him as superhuman, but, he's definitely more than just your average Joe. And then it becomes the plot of Top Gun, where they're in training, but yet there's this boat, this tanker's offshore. So briefing room Alpha. Got us a mayday call. She's an oil tanker 40... I can't even read. I'm sorry. Starting off. Got us a mayday call. She's an oil tanker off 40 West. Drone show pirate action. It's looking like a combat dive. You boys ain't ready, but you're the only one near's enough. Sounds like fun, says Clark. Fun it won't be, sailor. That mama, she's hauling herself one hot load of crude and jet fuel, enough to torch Newark. We go in 15 and we go in wet. Get moving. 15, we get moving. We go in wet. It's fun anyway. And they're on their little salt boat. A light breeze, waves lap. Dead silence ahead, sir, not a breath. Let's keep it quiet to ourselves, boys. Drop on my mark. Go, 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 go. And I thought this was really cool. I'm not a military guy myself, so I can't vouch for the authenticity of some of these things, but I love seeing military actions. I just think it's cool. I think people in the military are heroes of a sort. Anyone who puts their life on the line for a cause or to help other people are true heroes in a sense. And I also it's just something about the comradeship, the brotherhood of military. If you're a guy, well, I can't even say if you're a guy, you get it these days. That's sad. But if you're not a beta male, if you have balls between your legs, I think you understand. Still no sound, no sign of life. It's quiet. Quiet as a tomb. So they infiltrate. There's dead bodies. This is a standard, what you'd expect, sort of like SEAL team mission, terrorists on a boat. It's all very standard. And they come up to, I think this is like the engine control room or something. Or maybe this is the bridge. But anyway, they talk about there's the engine noises and everything, and they're allowed to sneak up. Clark has X-ray vision, so he spots, and CO here catches him. He's like, "What, you got X-ray eyes? You can see through steel?" So Clark plays it off. "Just a reflection on the glass, sir. We got 2 of them right inside the door. I just might keep you around, youngster. Quick head tap for each of them, and we're out of here." Quick head tap, he says. Spooky to hear him put it that way. It makes it sound like we're just saying hello. This is a cool shot here. Terrorists all looking out the bridge. It's all menacing, dark, can't see, and these guns popping out of the shadows. That's a really cool shot. And, just like they said, pop, 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 pop. Now at this part, I'm realizing, I'm like, wait a second, time out here. Clark Kent is dropping people with, doing assassinations. This is not right. But then we get to this panel here, and Clark can't pull the trigger. So easy. And Clark, he's supposed to join in on all the killing, but he holds back his strength just enough. The man's brains stay inside his head. So this guy's like, huh? "Can't you punk stop dancing already? We need corpses." And this guy's like, "You'll get corpses, lots of corpses." He pulls the grenade. "Clear the decks, too late, we're dead." Clark's in the front, though, and snatches him by the hands. "Ack!" Clark does not run. He does not lunge. 7 seconds. Like a streak of lightning, he is simply there. "Demon, let go of me." "Settle down, you idiot." 6 seconds. "I said clear the goddamn deck now. Give me one clear shot, Kent." 5 seconds. "Crazy, you're both crazy." Just swing him around. Let me get a pop the target. 4 seconds. They're still struggling. And then Clark decides to kind of show off here. "Hold it tight. Hold him tight. Let him see it. Let him get a good look at all the hell he's so eager to bring to this earth." 2 seconds. Let him stare death square in the eye, and let him watch death stare right back at him. 1 second. And then, boomf! Ears pop. It would have been one hell of a blast. Eventually, Kurtzberg breathes, "Jesus, you crazy kid." "Hey, will you look at that? No harm done. Must have been faulty." "Charge. Faulty. Sure. Yeah, faulty. You're a one odd duck, Kent." He gives orders. His eyes burn holes right through me. "Kurtzberg to all units. Bridge clear. That's an all clear. We're steering this beauty back home to Mama." "Yes, sir." And then Kurtzberg's like, "Maybe before I'm dead, you're going to come clean with me, Kent." And so then we get back at the base, and Clark Kent's looks like he's getting court-martialed. Kurtzberg stands up for him, so they let him off with an honorary discharge and a washout. And there's a lot of good narration here. I really just like how Miller just tells the story. It's just, I was engrossed in this the whole time. Clark Kent, he tried to be a hero, and he washed out. 2 weeks passed. Don's still away from cracking. Only guy making noise above. Okay, so he goes through and doesn't sleep that night. He's zipping up his stuff, but all his buddies, they all know him and they're like, "Semper Fortis, Swabby. Semper Fortis. Semper Fortis, my friends. I'll miss each and every one of you." And like that, Clark's washing out, and Kurtzberg meets him, and he's like, "You practically ate that hand grenade back there, soldier. That baby was no dud. And I've seen plenty else. You got gifts. Gifts like nothing else everyone's seen. Gifts, talents. Hone those talents. Learn those skills. And don't go setting the world on fire. It's already on fire. It's your job to put fires out. You got that, boy?" "Yes, sir. I got that." "Good. You keep it. And you stay safe. Stay strong." And so this is a cool moment. I really like that Kurtzberg, this character, sees something in him, knows that he's more than just some man. Probably puts 2 and 2 together once Superman shows up and realizes that's that boy. But to him, it's not a matter of, revealing who he is, and keeps a secret. And it was really cool. And Clark ends up going the wrong way. Kurtzberg is like, "Hey, where are you going?" And look, just look, easy as you please. He's waving me off. Smart ass little guppy. He's waving me off. And he's off to see the ladies. "Kent, you damn rascal. Give the ladies my regards." God, I love the way Miller writes. It's just, there's a masculinity into it that, despite if you like this story or not, no one writes like him like this. No one writes like men. And this is not a knock to women at all. And if there's any women watching this video, please don't take this as a slight. It's just, we see the world through different eyes. There's certain things in feminine qualities and writing that is aimed towards women that I wouldn't understand. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, everyone should have things available tailored to them. And it's all too few these days that we get writing like Frank Miller. So he goes back, this water-breathing surface man, this champion, this Superman, they welcome him. She welcomes him, and she sings. So he's back, and he's kind of falling in love. He's got, their hiding place where dreams come true. "So long you've been away from me," she cries. "So long. Never stray again," she pleads. "Come close," she moans. Come close, hold me close, never stray again. So Clark's getting lost at sea, and she talks about she's gonna, meet her father, and da 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 da. Your lady is waiting for you and you alone. So hurry up now and wear your best suit. And so he does. And Laurie's voice goes all flirty in his skull. She's laughing, taunting. She's quite the tease. Here now, you make as good an impression as you can, darling. After all, my father is none other than Poseidon, Lord of the Seven Seas. And I guess you'd say I'm Daddy's girl. His very favorite I am. He's not going to make this easy for you. He surely won't, and neither will she. So he shows up. He's got this massive guardians, or this guardian that's guarding the way. It looks like a statue, but then it swings the hammer down on him, and he gets in a contest fight with it. Superman, of course, overcomes it. This is where his heat vision comes in, and he's used it before, but never he's had any control of it. And he shows up in Poseidon's throne room. Whew, this is going to be a long video. Like I told you, this is a long book, and there's a lot that goes on it. And Poseidon doesn't want to give up his daughter, not even to Superman. So he puts him in a trial. And I'm not going to really go into it. This is just all a bunch of conflict stuff that he has to go through. But of course, he overcomes. And he starts to have a little bit of second thoughts. What am I doing? What was I thinking? A sea god as a father-in-law? Is that a dumb idea or what? What? Oh, no. He gets attacked by this kraken, and he's almost about to meet his doom. This is pretty cool. Big monster that Superman's fighting. And then we get Poseidon's point of view. This naughty little boy, he's found himself a pretty little bug to step on and squish, but it doesn't squish. It doesn't even fight. It just plays dead. It doesn't fool anybody. It comes from the surface, but it doesn't suck in the seawater and choke like it should. And it doesn't break. It just won't break. Actually, I think that might have been the Kraken's point of view. Nasty little mosquito, defiant little land frog. Just look at it. It's mocking me and making fun of me. So it ends up eating Superman. And then it talks about like having a rock in its belly, and it starts to feel sick, and it wants to go home. And meanwhile, daughter's upset. No, father. Basically the typical type of thing. You won't let me have my own life, la la. Father, you fiend. He was my hero, my man. You shall have no man but Poseidon. For all the days of your life, you will reign by my side, and you will take your mother's place in every respect. Whoa. Uh-oh, Poseidon. Jeez, come on, dogs. Anyways, so as you can expect, the Kraken is like, something's wrong here. And Superman gets belched out, and he shows up. The brazen challenger blasts from the belly of the beast, projectile vomited to freedom. The surface dwellers tell tales of a man named Jonah who has survived the belly of a whale. Now Atlanteans have a tale all their own of Laurie's bold suitor, who swallowed whole by the Kraken, devoured, undigested, and bile-drenched, yet triumphed. Sorry for the interruption. This is how it goes. This is like my fifth take on doing this. This has been a real crapshoot for me, so sorry about any of the weird technical glitches. Sorry about the noises and the dogs going out the door. I know it can be real loud and stuff, so, unfortunately, I don't have a budget to produce a high budget show. You're just getting real amateur hour, but that's the way it goes. Moving on. Poseidon is just, he's not happy with this boy courting his daughter. He says, "Frog legs, she will never be yours." "Mother, it hurt me, made me sick. Mother, come save me, take me home." So we have the beast that Superman fought, came out of the belly of. And the first time it didn't really ring clear to me what was happening, what's about to happen here. And I guess it should have right here, but I was just engrossed in the story. No two ways about it, Pops. I beat Fido, fair and square. My champion, my hero, I am yours. None of this makes any sense. Why do you attack? You have no place here. She is my princess and my bride. He has gone mad. Just listen to him. I claim what is my property. It's the stranger. He's tamed your little pet. He's stolen the heart of your princess and he has driven you mad. It's over, father. You are done. You blaspheme, girl. Poseidon could never be defeated. Bear witness. And then, thoom, it comes crashing down. Bear witness. The seafloor shatters. The seabed shakes. Piledriver force beyond all comprehension descends, and the base pretender is crushed beneath it. He is lost to you, my child, lost for all time. Bear witness, feel my power. And so this is just the typical villain, like, haha, I'm the ultimate power, I've destroyed your champion. And I'm really enjoying this on its own. Then we get to see what has caused this, what has crushed him. It is the Kraken. But again, at this time, I was reading the book, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I thought this was the original Beast because I didn't have a size comparison, and I should have, right? If you go back, you can see Superman is, it's bigger than Superman, but look at the head compared to this, and then you look at this thing compared, and it's like there's a whole freaking like stadium of people. It's gigantic, and it's crushed Superman, and it relinquishes its weight off him, and you think, okay, it's dead. But we all know Superman isn't going to be really dead. All hope is gone, yet still I must find my Superman and touch him one last time. And so the legend grows. The champion rises from the crushed and shattered seabed, and he is unscathed, undaunted, triumphant. And with his mind for all to hear, he laughs. And the princess bride comes to him and pledges herself to him, yada, yada, yada. Poseidon realizes he has been beaten. He tells the Kraken to go and wait for his calling, nurse its wounds, and not to pester Superman any longer. And so you can see the mother and the daughter, this child beast, and they leave. And Poseidon kind of flees with his tail between his legs and relinquishes his throne. He just kind of gives up without much more of a fight. There's not much. It's kind of weird. I'm not used to that in comics. But he takes off and says, one day he may return. Meanwhile, Superman, I don't think he took that very well at all. Was it my whooping his pet or winning over the apple of his eye? You have won me, you have won me. You have freed me, I am yours. So she's in love with him. It's all perfect. She's perfect. He could stay here. He could stay here. He could spend a lifetime here. He could stay here and never leave. Not for his whole life. End part 2. And then it's like next issue, Daily Planet. So here we're going to enter familiar territory, right? We know. But this was kind of weird for me. I was like, what? I like this issue a lot. I really enjoy reading Frank Miller. And again, I'm going to admit my bias. There's a lot of people you're going to see online that hate this book. But I just don't think everyone gets it. Either that, I think, or possibly people are just like, this is so alien to Superman. This is trash to me. Because some people don't like that. They don't like when you take the stories they love and you completely change them. I'm okay with that if there's a reason to. And the problem that I'm having with this book is that Miller is adding these things like the Navy SEALs and the mermaids, and Atlantis. And I'm struggling to find a connection. I'm struggling to find, why is this here? The only thing that I can really come up with is that this is an 18-year-old Clark Kent. This is not Superman yet. This is a boy who's just left home for the first time, and he's trying to find himself. And I really do appreciate that. I feel like a lot of writers that write really good origin stories for Superman, they don't really take that into consideration. It's basically Superman's a boy, and then he leaves the farm, and boom, he's Superman. He makes a few mistakes or whatever, but if you remember being 18 years old, in through my mid-20s, there was probably a good 6-7 years where I was just an idiot. Thought I knew everything. And the struggle to find out who you are, I think that's what Miller is trying to do here, is show the story of how Clark Kent found himself. right? Jeez, dog. I can't have no dog noise on my videos for some reason. I don't know if you could hear that, but it was loud as hell here. So I like this story again. I feel like if this wasn't Superman, if this was just a story about some random superpowered character and this was his origin, this was an indie book, I would have probably been enthralled. I would have really enjoyed it. I like the character. It's just this internal struggle that I'm having of like remembering at all times that this is Superman, but it's not the Superman I understand or know. And so it feels weird and it's distracting to me. If you can overcome those distractions, I think you'll really enjoy this book, unless you just can't stand Miller's writing, which, in today's modern times feels out of place. Modern writers don't write like Frank Miller does. I tried to give you several examples with my reading so you could kind of get a feel of what that was. I really love it. There's almost a poetry to it. I don't mean that in like a pretentious way. I don't think Frank Miller's pretentious. It's just really hard to describe like what he does. It's a perfect marriage of pictures and words to me. His words are there to serve the pictures, I guess. And I really like the style. It's an older style. It's the style that's almost unique to him that no one really does. I'm really enjoying it, but I recognize its faults too. So this is a mixed bag. It's not a book I can recommend because of its weirdness and because of the uniqueness of his style. So I don't just go out there, but I think for the right person, like myself, and there's probably others, that this book will really, have some appeal to. But I think a lot of people will just be like, what the hell am I reading? It's going to be a very divisive book. So take that into mind if you're considering checking this out. I think it's definitely worth reading if you take all the caveats I've had in place. And like I said, if you can get over that, it's something definitely different than you're going to be reading by anyone else. And I really hope the third book lives up to it and gives us what we want, and maybe gives us a big payoff. We're going to have to wait and see. But you can be sure I'm a Frank Miller fan. I buy everything he does, so I will be buying it and reviewing it. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. And sorry it was so long. It's kind of becoming a trademark, but this is a long book. So I appreciate your time. Stan says, thanks. Forky says, this isn't trash. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.